Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody in between and adjacent, welcome to the Rush Rundown, what I believe is the first and only 10-minute testing ripoff for Rush Duel. Now, what better way do we have to start off a 10-minute testing ripoff than with Hero? First, the card by card. Our skill is Hero Rush Rising. Can be activated by sending one card from your field to the graveyard if all the monsters in your deck with 1600 more attack are light attribute warrior type monsters, and all the monsters in your extra deck are warrior type monsters. We get to make one face up monster on the field lose 600 attack defense until the end of this turn. Then we can add one fusion from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Now fusion, as it is named, is the fusion spell for Rush Duel. Rush Duel does not use polymerization as their main fusion card, because it would actually be way too powerful in Rush, if you can believe that. So we have Fusion, and what Fusion does is Fusion Summon by sending face-up monsters from your field to the graveyard as material. Very simple. We have to first normal summon or special summon the monsters we're going to be using as material to then send them to the grave with Fusion to summon our Fusion monster. Now, let's actually take a look at those first. Our fusion monster of choice is the elemental hero Flame Wingman. He's the only hero fusion released into the game so far. There are more in Rush, but for Duel Links specifically, we only have Flame Wingman. So of course, because we have Flame Wingman, we play Avian and Burstinatrix. Next, you'll notice a different card next to Flame Wingman. We have Ether F Striker. Now, the Ether cards are a archetype in Rush that has no TCG equivalent. Our Ether F Striker is a fusion of Ether Seeker and Ether Finder. Place one fusion from your graveyard on either top or bottom of the deck. This card gains 600 attack until the end of this turn. Then you can place one normal monster from your graveyard on top of the deck. This card is used to basically take the spent fusion from either summoning it or maybe from summoning Flame Wingman, as well as either Avian or Burstinatrix, stacking them back on top of the deck to then summon another Flame Wingman in the next turn. And its materials, we'll go over those. First, Ether Finder. Send one spell trap from your hand to the graveyard. Simple. Make one face-up monster in your field, gain 300 attack until the end of this turn. If you have fusion in your graveyard, you can also special summon one Ether Seeker from your graveyard face up to your field. Now, a big reason for why I play the Ether cards is because Finder and our next card, Seeker, both have effects that require you to send a spell trap, and our skill recycles fusion as well. Their effects get bonus effects having fusion engraved, so if you're just recycling fusion and then sending it with Seeker and Finder, you get their bonuses. So Ether Seeker sends one spell trap from your hand into the graveyard, then one face-up monster in your opponent's field loses 300 attack on the end of this turn. Then, if you have fusion in your graveyard, you can destroy one spell trap on your opponent's field. Now, I really like this because Seeker being a MST on legs that you can basically summon out at almost any point from your grave because of Finder gives him a lot of versatility outside of his normal effects and his normal uses. Because with Seeker, we go up to having 6 cards to pop spell traps, which you could theoretically be 9 because we are also on 3 Finder. Now, with those guys out of the way, I just wanted to explain them first because we had their fusion. We should talk about the brand new heroes exclusive to Rush. The Rising Heroes. Our first Rising Hero is Rising Hero Argent. Reveal one level 6 or 7 warrior type monster in your extra deck. Excavate the top 4 cards of your deck. You can add 2 excavated normal monsters listed as materials on the monster you revealed to meet the requirement to your hand. Place the others cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. Argent is insane. I've been highly considering Argent as part of a tribute engine for decks like Monarch, because Argent can just dig into your deck to find Avian, to find Burstinatrix, to then stack the bottom with unwanted cards. So if you're trying to do something like, let's say, mill Buster Blader to add him off his Searcher, Argent basically just reshapes your deck for you so you know exactly what you could be drawing into. It's very nice. He also just gets you all the materials for Flame Wingman. He adds Burst Synergy, he adds Avion, then you send him with the skill to add Fusion to just Fusion summon the Flame Wingman right on the spot. It's very, very nice. The other Rush exclusive hero is Rising Hero Tantalum. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This card gains 400 attack until the end of this turn. If you have face-up warrior type fusion monster in field, you can also return one face-up level 8 or lower monster in your opponent's field to the hand. This effect is insane. A lot of people I've seen who do lists for this deck don't play Tantalum, and I don't understand it at all. So many of my games that were losses were because I just didn't see Tantalum. Like, he is the linchpin of the deck. He bounces cards back to the opponent's hand, so if they do something like, I don't know, normal summon a guy that just has a good effect but very low attack, you can Tantalum, bounce that guy back to the hand, and then you're buffing up Flame Wingman, because the combo is to have them both on field at the same time, to swing over a monster with big attack, to then trigger Flame Wingman's burn effect to basically deal a whole bunch of damage, and the opponent is stuck with basically a combo piece in hand after they've already spent the combo, and it's very hard to get that back in Rush. Now, the rest of our monsters is just 3 copies of Rising Light Angel Essel. If your deck can play Essel, you play Essel. If you're not familiar with what she does, during a turn you have not special summon a monster, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, then if you activate this effect during the first turn of the player going second, you can special summon 1 monster from either player's graveyard face up on your field. She's insane. She's insane. She can summon any card out of your graveyard, any card of the opponent's graveyard. Absolutely insane. A must include. She's so important. As you can see, I've given her a very gold border. I love this card. Now our spell traps. We have mandatory includes. Buffered Slime. When an opponent's level 8 or lower monster declares an attack, send a top card of your deck to the graveyard. This turn you take no battle damage. Then if your life points are 3,000 or higher, you take 2,000 damage. Notably, that specifies battle damage. If everyone is playing Buffered Slime, a certain guy clears that. Flame Wingman can still burn for the attack values of the monsters he's destroying, because the burn is not battle damage. We have no limit 2s, so we can play Negate Attack. Fusion, we play 2 Fusion. We can recycle these infinitely. You might be better off playing 1. Not sure. Needs a lot of testing. This is the day after the update where I'm filming this, so maybe we decide later that Fusion's a one-of, but as of right now, gotta play it. Talismanic Seal Array. Battle is very important. You're always winning battle with Seal. I'm going to show some games later and you'll see Seal in action, and it's crazy. Following that, we have our archetypal MST. Now this one's a little interesting. You might have seen Avian Spell Tactics before if you were playing Rush, but this card recently got its limit removed because its limit was pointless in the first place, but we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that. If you have 2 or more face-up Warrior and/or Winged Beast type monsters you field, destroy a spell trap. Then you can place 1 level 8 or lower Warrior type or Winged Beast monster from your graveyard on top of your deck. AKA, if you go balls to the wall with something like Ether F Striker, and you do something like, I don't know, set Fusion and Burst Tricks back on top, if you can also Avian Spell Tactics, you could then top Avian, and at that point, you got Flame Wingman for the next turn. Very nice. Our legend spell of choice right now is Tribute to the Doomed. I'll accept Warrior Returning Alive probably being a better include. I'm just still in the testing, but it's not clear. They're both good. Trust me, they're both good. Enough of the cards. Let's show you what they can do. Our first duel is up against Blue Eyes. Now, this was all recorded on the day of the update, so a lot of people were just playing whatever to grind their levels and everything. And so our opponent's gonna learn the hard way that maybe we should be playing a little more of a modern deck. Anyway, we just had a complete full set, just exactly what you want to see. Set your entire hand turn 1, build a wall, and let the opponent just crash into it. Now, I said they're going to learn the hard way. They are learning the hard way that an unprotected stat stick is very vulnerable to hero. Alright, they swing over Burstinatrix. We're big chill. We do not care at all. And we're just drawing perfectly. Go ahead and Argent, seeing what we can hit on the top. We hit Avion, which is exactly what we were missing. So then we can then flip Burstinatrix, normal Avion, boom, Fusion. The Fusion that we just hard drew, we summon out. Alt-Art Fusion animation, by the way. There are 2 Fusion animations. No animation itself for Flame Wingman, but there's 2 different animations for Fusion. This is the Alt-Art. Alright. Pump the Blue Eyes stats down. Go ahead, shuffle back with Seal Array. And now, we're just going to put a couple more monsters on the field. We have the Fusion we added, so Ether goes ahead, pops the back row, which is Buffered Slime. Now we go ahead, swing into the 0 attack Bright Eyes, 2100, burn for 3000, and let's follow up with 2 instances of 1000 for the quick and swift turn 3 OTK. Now, Hero is looking pretty good to start. But maybe there's some other decks lurking around the corner that'll give us a little more of a challenge. Let's find out. So, our next game is up against Cyber Dragons, and if you don't like Cyber Dragons, I would not recommend playing Rush right now. We're going to be seeing a lot of Cyber Dragons for the foreseeable future. Anyway, I always lose the coin toss, so we're going first again. And we are just going to go ahead, the classic, build a wall. Set out everything. Just set everything, set everything, set everything. The opponent opens their MST. They pop one on our back row is completely fake. They're just going to go a little aggressive style. Cyber Dragon is so unbelievably aggressive. And they just get to do this. Watch what our opponent does. They summon Cyber Twin Dragon, who is 2800 attack, by the way. And they can clear anything we put down. So, of course, our other back row is fake. It's just Avian Spell Tactics. They just clear our board. And we're like, okay, whatever. But, pretty decent draw. We don't need this MST. We drew a new one. So we're going to go ahead, pitch it, get Fusion, tribute to the Doomed, pitch that Fusion, pop Cyber Dragon. And we're setting again. Just setting again, setting again, setting again. We need to make sure they can't kill us, which is basically assured as long as we're setting in defense and not doing anything in attack, because we lose super hard to Cyber Twin, and despite Cyber End being in Rush, we don't really have to worry about that. At worst, we'll take like 3000 damage from that. And to go ahead and summon Cyber Search, bring back Cyber Dragon, set attribute for Cyber Assault Dragon. They're clearing our field again, They, super funny, they missequence these attacks by using Assault Cannon attacking into our Set Seeker, who for whatever reason has 1200 defense. Meanwhile, like, everything else in our deck is 1000, which is Monarch stacks, by the way. In case you're wondering, Monarch stacks are 1000 defense. That's not neither here nor there. We're just going to go ahead and go our next turn, and I realize that this is the God Draw. Flip, Avian Spell Tactics, pop the back row. It was Musical Princess, interesting to see in Cyber Dragon. Rush Rising, pitch Essel, add back a Fusion. Here we go, summon the Flame Wingman. Beautiful animation, love the alt animation. There he is. Go ahead, just set, go battle. Now, we are in a really bad spot if the opponent top decks back row removal. But, luckily we know they only play one card for such removal. So hopefully we can just pray that they whiff. They have already spent one, so it's not too common to just get the second one. And they are going all in on pure damage. They want to OTK us over our Flame Wingman, over our set, as they're now activating Cyber Entry to reborn a Cyber Dragon, summoning Proto, and of course they have the fusion, last card. However, we are sitting on the negate attack that is completely uncontested. So we go ahead and we negate the attack, end the battle phase, draw for turn, and what would you know, saving the Tantalum was the best plan we could have had. Go ahead, tribute summon the Tantalum, Tantalum effect, bounce a card, back to hand. Then we go ahead, normal burst Nidrix, summon Tantalum, bounce a card, back to hand, and would you look at that, the board's wide open so we can attack for game. Very, very clean game, if I do say so myself. Now here we are at game 3, and I would like to say this is a 1v1 versus meta, but we don't know what meta is right now. However, this is 1v1 versus Cyber Dragons. I said get used to it, maybe this is the meta, who knows. We're going to be seeing Cyber Dragons a whole lot, as I've already said. We finally won a coin toss, by the way, so we are going second, and you'll notice we have the best card we could possibly ask for in our hand. We got Essel. So we're going to go ahead, let the opponent set all their cards, no back row, holding 2 cards in hand. This is incredible for us. You love to see it. We draw negate attack for turn. The perfect draw. Essel, summon, negate attack, perfect. Go ahead, set some cards. We're not going to summon Tantalum right now, because Tantalum is vulnerable to a Cyber Dragon fusion monster. So we're just going to go ahead and attack in. We can notice that they are on some Earth Machine cards in their deck, but they're not playing Join Tech or anything like that. This is Cyber Dragon. I just guess they wanted to play some of the newer machines for their deck. So there they go, yep. Lowering our attack, tributing Cyber Dragon. And we're just going to go ahead and negate attack. Keep the material on board for summoning Tantalum is one of the best things we can do right now. And the other god draw, we get Avian and Burstinatrix off the top. Insane. A little bit of a misplay that we sent the Essel, meaning we don't have the material to summon the Tantalum on board right now, but that will be redeemed in just 1 second as we go ahead and use Finder. And if you remember, we already had Seeker engraved, so we summoned Tantalum anyway. Go ahead, Tantalum, bounce a card back to hand, so they have a clogged hand, so they just have like an extra monster for next turn. Go ahead, seal Array, pump down the Cyber Dragon a little bit more. We go 24 in, deal 1900 damage with an extra 21 on top, and then boom! Tantalum hits him for 17, leaving the opponent on just 300 life points. If we were able to trigger the Seeker, we were able to trigger the Seeker on our turn, the attack lowering effect, that would have been game right on the spot, because he lowers by exactly 300. Now you notice the opponent goes right into Cyber Twin. They are just clearing our board, but they set a monster. Now, this is insane for us. Yes, they have a highly statted monster on the board, but they have 0 back row. So nearly any 5 cards in our deck clears this. And what do you know? We open exactly what we need. Pitch Argent, add Fusion, summon the Finder, summon Avion, summon Burstinatrix, Tribute for Tantalum, and I was thinking, you know, I could fusion summon. Also, this is just game on board. So yeah, nothing too flashy, but we just go ahead and clean up in our last game. So, we're back with the deck, and it felt great. It looked great, it felt great. But that is not without its weaknesses. Now, all our monsters have very low attack values, putting us very vulnerable to the Cyber Dragon deck that we saw all over. Obviously, I'm not going to include a bunch of losses. It wasn't a consistent amount. I'm on like a 8-game win streak right now on ranked, so it's not that bad. But before that streak, it was definitely win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, and every single match was against Cyber Dragon. We're not great against Cyber Dragon. And I noticed most of my losses were games where I did not see Tantalum, or if I did see Tantalum, I just couldn't find the resources to summon Tantalum. That's the real choke point of the deck, is sometimes we just need a dude with a big number to kind of get us in there, and unfortunately, with the restrictions of our skill, we can't add any guy to do that. All in all, for the first wave of hero support, it's very good. I enjoyed it a whole bunch. I'm definitely going to be playing this deck a whole lot more. And yeah, that's everything from me. Now, if there are any decks you would like to see me make a video of, whether it's from the new set or an old set, go ahead, leave that in the comments. I have nearly every deck in Rush Duel at my fingertips, so you want to hear me talk about any of those, go ahead, leave it down below, and let me know what you want to see on the next episode of the Rush Rundown. Thank you. Goodbye.